By 2050, the world economy is expected to double, growing at substantially faster rate than the global population. This growth will be as a result of technological advancements aimed at increasing productivity. Moving beyond global statistics, it's equally important to consider shifts in both regional and local economies to gain a full picture of future economic trends. In this video, we shall be taking a look at the world's top 10 largest economies in 2050. 10. Australia. GDP, $3.4 trillion. Though Australia accounts for just 0.3% of the world's population, it commands 1.7% of the global economy, making it the 12th largest economy in the world in 2023. Australia is also a high-income country, with an estimated 5.9 million households with disposable incomes above $75,000 per year. In 2050, Australia is estimated to reach the number 10th spot among the world's largest economies, continuing its legacy as one of the world's strongest economies. For this to happen, the nation's government will have to curb the effects of inflation through sound fiscal policy. 9. Canada. GDP, $3.5 trillion. The world's 9th largest economy, Canada benefits from a stable economic and legal system, a market-oriented economy, and a focus on high-value sectors. Roughly 75% of Canada's exports go to the US, making America, Mexico, and Canada Agreement of 2020 a crucial part of the nation's economy. It's projected that Canada will maintain its current position as the world's 9th largest economy until 2050. Due to its reliance on the US for income generated from exports, Canada risks being affected by a slowing US economy. Additionally, the country could benefit from infrastructure projects aimed at lowering the cost of living to encourage labor mobility. 8. Indonesia. GDP, $4.3 trillion. Indonesia is currently ranked as the 16th largest economy in the world, with a GDP of $1.3 trillion. However, by 2050, its economy is expected to grow to a value of $4.3 trillion, making it the 8th largest economy in the world. The country's successful attempts at structural reforms have been a large part of its recent economic growth. To continue its trajectory towards economic growth, Indonesia will need to make strides in multiple areas. These include reducing its greenhouse emissions, taking measures to increase competition, and encouraging greater participation in the economy among women, foreign laborers, and marginalized groups. 7. France. GDP, $4.3 trillion. France is projected to maintain its position as the world's 7th largest economy until 2050. The country's primary sources of income include manufacturing, tourism, and pharmaceuticals, which have solidified a $3.1 trillion GDP. The nation's government remains deeply involved in defense, power, and public transport, but it has adopted measures to either fully or partially privatize whole industries. One priority for France moving forward will be to enhance the skills of its labor force to focus more closely on high-skilled labor. Problematically, a substantial proportion of the labor force lacks skill, limiting their employability. 6. United Kingdom. GDP, $4.8 trillion. Once the center of the largest empire the world has ever seen, the UK may have shrunk significantly in size over the past century, but its economy has remained one of the largest and strongest in the world. This trend is set to continue well into the 21st century, with the UK projected to maintain its position as the world's 6th largest economy until 2050. A few areas of concern are government spending, which has damaged the UK's competitiveness and raised public debt to nearly 100% of GDP, the persistence of budget deficits, and an uncertain relationship with the European Union. 5. Japan. GDP, $5.1 trillion. Japan has long been one of the world's strongest economies, owing largely to its automobile industry, manufacturing, and a highly educated workforce. In the 1990s, Japan accounted for 20% of global GDP, marking its place as the world's second largest economy behind the US. It would enjoy this position until 2010, when it was overtaken by China. Japan's share of global GDP will fall to 2.3% in 2050, marking one of the sharpest decline in global GDP faced by any country over the next 27 years. This is due to slow productivity growth and a decline in the country's workforce. 4. Germany. GDP, $6.6 trillion. Between 2023 and 2050, Germany's GDP is expected to grow from $4.3 trillion to $6.6 trillion. In addition to the nation's projected rapid productivity growth, Germany will also be one of the highest performing countries in terms of GDP per capita when compared to the US. Germany's position in the world's top 20 largest economies is expected to remain the same at number 4 from 2023 to 2050. While this means Germany will not achieve the extreme levels of growth that India and China will, it nevertheless showcases Germany's economy as one of steady growth and consistency. 3. India. GDP, $16.3 trillion. As the second largest emerging market giant behind China, India will be the biggest success story. As of April 2023, India overtook China as the most populous country in the world. By 2027, it will overtake Japan as the world's third largest economy. India's projected status is due to a steady population increase. By comparison, a 1.1% annual reduction of China's labor force and its aging population, with around 30% of individuals aged 60 and over by 2035, will result in economic stagnation by 2050. 2. United States, $42.9 trillion. The U.S. economy has been the world's largest since the end of the 19th century, and has on average contributed 30% to global GDP since the 1960s. It shouldn't come as a surprise, then, that the U.S. economy is expected to grow to a GDP value of $42.9 trillion by 2050. What might be surprising is that estimates show it will become the world's second largest economy in 2037. This is due to the meteoric rise of China's economic power, which is one of the most significant developments of the past few decades. China. $52.5 trillion. Home to the world's largest military, China is expected to overtake the United States GDP in 2037. By 2050, it will have the world's largest economy by a margin of nearly $10 trillion. The nation's global economic output is expected to rise from 17.3% in 2023 to 24.3% in 2050, marking a 7.0 percentage point increase. Much of this growth can be attributed to a projected sharp rise in the share of global economic output of emerging markets from 2023 to 2050. Nevertheless, the largest proportion of economic growth among emerging markets, which is over 50%, will be attributed to China. So, there you have it, viewers. The top 10 largest economies in the world in 2050. Make sure to press the like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Thanks for watching this one, catch you all in the next.